Good morning. Good morning. It's go time. 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning. Happy Thursday out there, and welcome to day 4 of the JumpStart Sales Challenge. I'm Teresa Bassett, your host and CEO of the Diamond Group, and I'm super excited to be here. I've been giving myself permission all week to use this week as a jumpstart for the sprint to start on Monday, the March 17th, as opposed to, I guess when I dove into the week, I was kind of thinking this was the beginning of the sprint, but I'm really feeling through the week that I have a lot, as I kind of talked about the first day of the week, I kind of feel like I started the year off kind of getting shot out of a cannon. There was a lot of travel and family stuff going on, a lot of, business initiatives taking place. And so I almost feel a little bit like I have been sprinting, but I realized this week that this is a really good prep week for really getting primed for the rest of the spring. And I'm going to use the opportunity throughout. I'm going to follow through all the way this week. I'm so excited that you guys have been with me. We started day 1 getting into motion. Day 2, we talked about the mental game and the mindset piece, which is so important. We're going to touch on that again today in Money Day because, of course, our beliefs around money can become friction in our sales process, and we want to make sure that we're aware of those things and we're taking that friction out. Yesterday, we talked about truly becoming magnetic and allowing ourselves to be in a position where we could really connect with the people around us and get into their world, right? Get into their agenda. And we talked about the messaging even on our digital doorstep and, projecting ourselves into the marketplace to have a magnetic presence and a magnetic brand so we can attract the right people to ourselves. And that's not just external clients, customers, and patients, but that's also team members, right? And remember, when you're getting somebody to link arms with you on your team to deliver your service or product, it's a sale, right, as well. And so we don't want to be in the convincing and persuading business in sales. We want to be in the selling, really sharing and service business. We want to really be positioning ourselves to serve those people that we're here to serve on an even greater level. And we're going to talk even more about that today on Money Day because I'm not going to spend the next 40 minutes talking about the beliefs and the mindsets around money. I do want to touch on it because, again, it can create resistance in our sales process, both on the hiring side and the client acquisition and business development side. And so it is important to be aware of those. But guys, there's a lot of opportunities out there to talk about money mindset and beliefs. And I do think that it's important to write down old stories that we have about money and conditioning. But today I really want to focus on what are we exchanging in the marketplace for that money, and what are we asking people to to receive in exchange for that money. I think that it's so important. Many times, just like we talked about yesterday, we focus on the getting part, the convincing and persuading part, but we're not as focused on the giving part, on getting into their world and figuring out what their challenges and problems are. And when we work with a client at the Diamond Group to really get clear on their target market, a lot of times the upfront work involves, getting a crystal clear picture of their personas, right? Their avatars. Who are their ideal folks that they want to work with? If you had one client, one customer, or one patient that you can think of that is your ideal, and you could just have 100 more of that exact type of person, right? That's your avatar. That's your persona. And we want to make sure that that picture of that person is crystal clear so we can develop messaging that speaks directly to them. And so many times, even when people have been in business 10, 20, 30 years, well, one, your avatar, your persona might have changed, right? Sometimes when we start out in business, we're just casting a wide net. We're saying yes to everyone and everything because we're just getting launched, we're getting going. And then over time, we tend to get more specific because we know a thing or two about a thing or two, and we're getting more clear, right, about who we ideally want to work with. We're like, oh yeah, I've seen a guy like that, and this is even better. And when we develop those descriptions of those ideal folks that you want to work with, and again, this can be on the hiring side too, right? Ideal team members that you want to attract to your team. Um, it's not just the demographics or where they live or what they look like. It's how do they think? How do they feel? What kinds of challenges and opportunities do they have? But it's also their attitude, right? Like we love to work with mission driven, vision led founders who are on this planet to deliver their goods and services into the marketplace with a real drive to serve. And those tend to be the best client fits for us, right? The people who are, so I'm always saying to the team, like, we serve those who serve others, because when people know that they're there to serve others, they really appreciate what their power team at the Diamond Group can bring to them in terms of sales and marketing. So it's really getting clear on who those people are. And when you become a magnet, like we talked yesterday, you're magnetizing what you are, not just who you want, right? And so if you want to find that kind of happy, buoyant person, if you want to find that kind of mission-led, purpose-driven person, that kind of positive thinker, that kind of person that that you're just happy and compelled to work with, you might need to adjust the way you're showing up. You might need to become more like that person to find those people, right? So that is definitely part of the magnetic equation. And we talked about really how to slow down and connect with those people, how to get into their world, and also how to be grateful, right? How to really be grateful for those people right in front of us, because that gives us the ability to be available in the current moment. And I think that that's a really important part of the sales process, whether you're talking about business development or talent acquisition. Another piece of that in terms of messaging and making sure your messaging is clear when you're talking about that magnetic branding, that I was thinking about this morning is making sure that your process that you're leading people through to work with you is also clear and specific, and that it gives you the ability to really focus on their agenda. If you have a high ticket consultative sale, a lot of folks that we work with are in the B2B space. And so they're connecting with other business owners. And that's a longer term engagement. It's not simply transactional. For example, if you are a fractional CFO, well, they need to know you, like you, and trust you enough and develop that trust in your sales process, your business development process, so that they can make that decision to link arms with you for month on month engagement, right? And that is different than just, okay, I'm going to buy this widget from you and then I'm going to move on in the marketplace. It's a higher trust item. And so it's even more important to truly connect with people and make sure that you have a process that supports them. When we go through our process of discovery and we're working with folks on sales training or process development, we make sure that we're really slowing down in the process. A lot of times you think about sales and it's all about pitching, it's all about presenting yourself. But if you think about it, that old school model makes it all about you, right? Memorizing the perfect pitch and the perfect presentation and saying it in the perfect way is actually making it all about you. And it really does put you in that convincing and persuading seat, because then you think, well, if I say it in just the right way. Hey guys, I heard a phrase that just stuck with me so many years ago. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. If you're doing what you need to do in a high trust, high ticket sales process, then you are putting them first. and you are getting in their world, and you are asking them questions, right? So that you can truly discover, okay, where are you? Where do you want to go? What's standing in your way? Right. And so I really want to encourage you in that magnetic process that we talked about yesterday of truly connecting. Make sure you have a process to guide people through that gets you in touch with what's really going on for them, so that it's clear and it's actionable, and you can walk them step by step in such a way so as to make it easy to work with you. Right. So lots more to talk about in sales training and sales process, but we just don't have enough time to go through all that today. But I want to plant seeds for that in you, because sometimes it's not just the messaging that's off. Sometimes our process internally is off. And we need to relook at both sides, the marketing side and the sales side of that equation, to make sure that that's really equally yoked, right? Leading people where we want them to lead, to go, and giving them an opportunity to share with us what they really need, so we can match them with a proper solution, and not just, pitch and present and throw spaghetti up against the wall, right? So important. So here we are, after all that prep through the week, and we've got 2 more days to go, guys, today and tomorrow. Money Day and Momentum Day. And I really want to encourage you, if you haven't watched the replays, go back, watch those, do the homework day by day, because that's going to get you in touch with 3 targets for this spring sprint. And so if you think about starting on March 17th, this spring sprint would end on June 17th, 90 days later. And we're looking at, what do we really want to create over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. We're going to do this sprint in 3 legs, each 30 days. And if you want to read more about that methodology, you can look for my book, Up Level, on Amazon. And this is going to walk you through step by step and what that methodology really looks like. So highly encourage you to look for that. And this JumpStart challenge is really tied to that sprint methodology, so that you can really get in touch with those things, but start on this process of beginning momentum. Hey guys, you are so powerful. You're starting this wave of clarity, of specificity, of commitment, the mindset piece, right? We're not waffling through the sprint. We're setting our mind, we're committing ourselves, and we're going all in. Right? We're going all in for the duration. And that is such a powerful part of the mindset piece, right? And we're also making it fun. We're bringing our lighthearted selves to the table, and we have a sense of discovery, curiosity about it. I know it kind of, started in me a few days ago with the onset of this week. And I was like, wow, every single time I've done the JumpStart Challenge, this is number 7, lucky number 7, something magical, something amazing, something I never saw coming happened. And already I'm seeing evidence of those things accumulating in the path. And so I never really know. You don't really know what you can accomplish in 30, 60, and 90 days. And I want you to suspend your disbelief and just get started, right? So don't overthink it. Don't just dive in with concerted action, and use this week to get ready. Use this week to set yourself up for success. And that means writing those things down, really looking at the pieces that I'm giving you. That to jumpstart your sales, you have to have a good process, and you have to make sure that your messaging is clear, and that you're really connecting and becoming a magnetic source of opportunity for people. So that leads us right to money, right? The green stuff. And, again, we think so much about, in sales and business development, of course, our agenda is to make the sale, right? And their agenda is to accomplish something in their business or their life. They're looking to solve a problem, a challenge, overcome a challenge, or create a solution. right? They're wondering if they can afford your solution, right? But they're not thinking about the money per se. They're thinking about the value of your solution. So I really want you today in Money Day to get into this value-driven thinking, right? If you want more money flowing into your business, and money is just currency. I mean, literally currency, but it's energy, right? And so as energy, you're exchanging something in the marketplace in exchange for this currency. And then you're going to use that currency to pay your employees, pay your light bill, pay your cable provider, give your landlord money for rent or your mortgage company, right? And so we're exchanging value, we're receiving money, and then we're using that money to pay someone else in many cases. And hopefully we're also saving some at the end so that we're building a cushion of reserves, right? And so if you think about it in its really purest form, it's energy that we're exchanging. Over here, we're exchanging something of value for that currency. And then we in turn are exchanging that currency for more value so that we can have internet and reach all of you, through the interwebs, all that good stuff, right? So today in Money Day, I want you to be thinking about the value you're exchanging for the money that you want to receive. And instead of thinking about just naming and claiming the financial target and the money that you want to receive, I want you to ask yourself 3 different questions. And this is homework. This ties right into, and I want you to spend some time with a piece of paper today because it's so powerful to work on your business, not just in it. So powerful. And maybe this exercise will trickle over into the weekend. That's okay because it's going to get you ready. It's really going to start setting you up for success over the course of the next 90 days. So take the time that you need. It's so important. So number 1, how can you and your business become more valuable to the people that you want to work with, right? Is there something that you could be adding to your product or service that gives them even more compelling reason to work with you? Could you add a feature or a benefit, or is there a way that that you could make it easier, right? Number 2, how could you speed up the delivery of your product or service, or create less friction at the front end? So money loves speed because it's just currency. It's literally like energy, running through a power wire. So if there's friction in the wire, we're creating these little resistance points. And so think about it. If you talk to somebody about your product or service and you are making it hard for them to understand what you do, that's friction. If you're making it hard for them to pay you, maybe your payment system is wonky, or maybe you have a lot of forms they have to fill out, that's friction, right? If you're making it a multiple step process, it takes them a lot of time, that's friction, right? If you are making it confusing, and making them feel, honestly, maybe a little bit dumb in the process. Like a lot of times, if you talk to people about marketing, you talk to people about highly technical things or financial things, I've talked to a lot of people, business owners who are such experts at what they do, but honestly, they just have to bring it down to more of a layman's level so that people can really understand the value that they're exchanging. So do you need to, I'm not going to use the words dumb it down, but do you need to make the information more approachable? If you're shooting too high in the way that you present the information, that's friction, right? Because people aren't going to move forward if they're not clear, or if they feel unqualified to make the decision because they just don't understand enough about what you're talking about. This can seem so obvious when I'm talking about it, but honestly, you guys, I talk to so many business owners that love to tell people what they know because they think that positioning themselves as the expert in that space in the way that they're talking about it will convince and persuade people that they're the right person to hire for the job. And honestly, if they stepped back from that for a minute, asked more questions of their prospect, and had that person speaking more than themselves, they'd already be ahead of the game, right? People don't care how much we know, they care how much we care. And it's really important to make sure that we're not adding additional friction in our language and we're making it super hard for them to understand what we do. So asking yourself, number one, how could I be more valuable to the people that I want to provide value to? Because more value equals more money, right? And then how could I speed it up? How could I take friction out? Here's another way to reduce friction. And number two, ask for the sale. I was just talking to my sales team about this last week, and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how often are you asking for it? Right? A lot of times people will not answer a question directly that they haven't been asked directly. And so, same thing happens for job candidates. Over 90% of the people interviewed in a job interview, studies show, never ask for the job. Right. And I think we step back from asking for it because we're afraid of rejection. But here's the thing, we're locking in with complete confidence, rejection, if you will. We're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy if we never ask, because we're much more likely to get rejected if we never ask. And so we're actually upping the likelihood of that rejection that we're afraid of by not asking. So it's kind of counterintuitive, right? But people love, and this is seasoned salespeople, people love to stay safe. And so if you aren't asking, that's keeping you safe, right? And actually that friction is serving you in a way, because you are you're protecting yourself from the no. Don't protect yourself from the no. Ask people. If you feel like you're in front of the right fit, team member or the right fit prospect, ask for the sale. I would love to have you come work on my team. Will you come join me? Right? Will you accept the mission? Right? I think you're a perfect fit client. I would love to work with you. I would love to connect you with my team. Are you ready to go? Right? Ask for the sale. There's so many ways to be more direct in our sales process. And so this goes all the way back to that process conversation that we just had this morning, about making sure that we're very clear and we're making it about them, right? And so less friction equals faster sales, more value, right? Equals more money. So start making the connection between more value and more money. Faster value, more money. More value, more money. Faster value, more money. It's once you start making that connection, you'll start to see all the ways that maybe you and your company, your organization, your team are making it hard to work with you. And this is something that we're always working on at the Diamond Group, not just for our clients, but for ourselves. Of course, we want to walk our talk. And so we want to make it even easier to work with us, friction free, because we provide so much value, and we want to ease the path so people can see what kind of value they can receive in that process. So ask. Number 3, how can you multiply that value? So, for example, we talked about the digital doorstep, casting a wider net, right? And the 10 prospecting ponds. So if you are adding value to one community and you're bringing your value, maybe you're making one presentation a day or 2 presentations a week. How can you multiply the number of presentations you make in a week, the number of ponds that you're touching, right? So do you need other people's time? Do you need other people's talent? Do you need a wider doorstep? Do you need to use digital ads to reach more people? One of the wonderful things about social media is, I can sit in one place here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and because of the power of the internet, I can reach thousands of people during this week. But if it's just me presenting, the JumpStart challenge to one person across the table, here I'm able to 1,000x that, or multiple thousand X's by by using tools. So are there ways to use other people's tools, other people's time, other people's talents to cast a wider net and multiply the value that you're bringing to the marketplace? This is the power of having a sales team, right? So at the Diamond Group, when we help people with inbound marketing and outbound sales, right? And these two things, peanut butter and jelly, really have to work together so that you can make sure you're connecting with all your perfect people, right? This is much like a golf game. I had my first golf lesson ever yesterday. And the golf game, of course, is you need the long play and you need the short play to work together, right? Well, it's the same with sales and marketing, guys. Marketing is the bridge to more of the right conversations. Sales is that process where you're really getting into their world, connecting with them and connecting them with the solution that you offer, right? When it's the right fit. And so sales is that process of converting those conversations to actionable, value. But marketing is just the bridge to getting more of those conversations. So it helps you multiply your impact, more money, right? And it gives you the ability to speed that up if you use other people's time, other people's tools to multiply that impact. So the other thing that you can use to multiply your value is other people's influence, right? Maybe within those prospecting pounds, there's Jenny over here, and she's the president of the organization, and Jenny already has a lot of sway within this particular community. Well, it might behoove you to get to know Jenny, right? Because Jenny, once she knows about the value you bring to the marketplace, she might become a great, ambassador, if you will, for the value that you're bringing. And so therefore you're getting in alignment with her influence, right? Her time, her talent, and using it to broadcast to a wider audience, and therefore multiply your impact, multiply your value, right? So we want to be thinking about, the number of presentations we're making in a week, and how can we, one, provide more value to those people, multiply the number of times we're making those presentations, and getting our stuff in front of people, right? And then also reducing the friction that it takes for them to engage with us and work with us. So all of these things, you guys, this is the real work. This is the real work of sales, because you have to sit down, and again, that's where coming back to, a blank piece of paper and this homework can be so valuable. It sounds overly simplistic. You guys, so many business owners are so caught up in the day to day that they don't actually sit down to think about the way their product or service is positioned and the process they're taking people through to engage with them, right? And they're so focused on getting the next sale that they're not really focused on what they're giving in exchange for it. And so if we think about value equating to money, speed of value equating to money, right? Less friction means more ability to deliver my value equaling money. Then we can start to make some new connections and we can start to do the real work. And sometimes it takes a bit of deconstruction, or at least, tough love, a little bit of tough love, right? Shine a flashlight in the dark corners of your process or your product. And where are there gaps? Be honest with yourself. You guys, we're not perfect. We're not born rolling out of bed, knowing how to sell stuff, right? Knowing how to create stuff, knowing how to bring it to the marketplace. This is the work of business ownership. And this is also the work of taking what you know in your business and transferring it to your team, which is another, difficult threshold. It's a challenge. And you have to you have to approach it as the work that it is. And so be willing to work on it, not just in it. And really use a tough love, flashlight to look at, okay, where am I making it hard? Right? Am I so interested in being heard and being understood that I'm not really slowing down to understand? Am I so interested in my pitch and my presentation that I really don't have the other person baked into this equation at all? Right? Well, that's a problem. right? Especially in a high trust, high ticket sale. And so I invite you on this Jumpstart challenge to identify that in your sprint as one of the things to work on, right? Because if you want to speed up the money, you got to speed up the process of reaching more people and providing more value. Hands down, end of story. There's no way about it. That is the way. So you can either work with existing clients, customers, and patients and provide them more value, make it easier to work, or you can find new ones, or you can do a combination of both, right? You can also get more people on your team to help you provide more value, right? Or cast a wider net. And so this isn't rocket science. And I don't care what kind of marketing tools come out every other day. We have a new tool with AI, and I love all those tools. We're embracing all those tools. But at the end of the day, the sales process has not changed in hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. The way Henry Ford sold cars 100 years ago is exactly the way they sell cars today, right? How are you going to use this car? How many people need to fit in the car? Questions. Connecting with the person that needs the vehicle. Oh, I got this great Model T right over here, right? Oh, let's trade in your horse and buggy for this car over here. It's the same process. All the tools help us create more of the bridges, to more of the right conversations. Henry Ford today could go on a live broadcast on Facebook and say, hey guys, ready to trade in your buggies and your horses? I got something faster over here, right? He could reach more people faster, but it's the same process. It's the same process, which is absolutely crazy, but also comforting, because we know that if we really get this down, if we really get sales down, this is a portable understanding that we can apply to anything in the marketplace, whether we're selling shoes or widgets or fractional CFO services or business brokerage services, or we're building houses for people, or we're a dentist. Right? It doesn't matter what we're selling. It's the same core principles, right? And so, at the end of the day, how can you increase the value? How can you increase the speed of the value that you're delivering? And how can you multiply that and provide even more value to more people? If you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, in the very first couple chapters, he says, what do you want to create in terms of wealth? What are you willing to exchange for it? Right? Here, I'll give you $100. If you wanted this $100, what are you willing to exchange for this $100? Are you willing to walk my dog for 47 hours? Are you willing to lead my sales team? Are you willing to, send beautiful teas to my doorstep every day for the next year on a subscription? What are you exchanging in the marketplace for this currency, right? And that's really, so it that same principle. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, go back and read it, right? Because he's talking about this same value exchange principle that I'm talking about right here. The other thing that he touches on in this book, and we talked about it at the beginning, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time talking about it today, was the beliefs around money that we bring from our childhood, from our family, from our environments, right? By the age of 4, we've pretty much created all, we've been sponging up all the prejudices that we're going to have in our life, right? We absorb it through our environment, right? And I've really tackled this because, of course, I grew up with money messaging in my family too. Here's where the money messaging and getting in touch with your beliefs really comes into play. It's that friction piece that I talked about. Because if you have a price objection and you don't believe or know that that the value you're providing with your service or product is worth the price that you're asking, you're going to bring that price objection to the table. You're going to start apologizing for your price, or you're going to back it down, or you're going to give discounts before they even ask, right? It's one thing to create flexible payment structures and give options for people to ease the friction at the front end of entry. It's another thing to say, I'm really sorry that it costs this much, right? In effect. No. Now we have a value objection. Right? And who has the value objection? You do. You're not even waiting to see if they have the price objection. You have the value objection. So you got to get in touch with the value. You have to know that what you're offering is super valuable to them, and you have to have that belief, right? Because that ties right into that mindset piece we talked about yesterday, and the magnetic piece that we talked about yesterday. You guys, these things are all connected. Because if you don't have a mindset, where you're completely confident and competent in what you're presenting and the value that it's bringing to the marketplace, you're going to start frittering away the edges on that value proposition, and you're going to start eroding their clarity around making that decision in small, subtle ways you don't even realize, right? Small, subtle ways. You might avoid telling them about the price. You might make it hard for them to learn the price because you're so afraid to tell them the price that they're gonna reject you. They're gonna object, right? That's a way of not asking for the sale, right? And you're creating friction in it. Don't be afraid to tell them about the price. Don't apologize for the price. I had a mentor who once told me, look, Teresa, there's only two good things that can happen when you present price. One, either the price is higher than they thought it was going to be, and so now your service or product looks even more valuable. Like if I go into a department store and I go to check out, I just fall in love with this designer bag, and I look at the price tag and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's $1,200. I thought it was going to be $800. Well, now that the value of that item in my eyes just went up, maybe I still have to make the decision if I can afford it, but it doesn't make me want it less. It actually makes me aspire to want it more. Or two, the price is exactly what I thought it was going to be or a little bit lower. And so that made it even easier, right? So there's no bad reaction to price. And I want you to start getting that stinking thinking out of the equation, because you're actually questioning the value of the very thing that you're bringing to the market. And guys, those subtle objections, those silent objections, those subconscious objections that you bring, those are killers. Killers. Maybe, I've seen this sometimes, because we have an agency model, we have to hire ahead of the curve. We have to train people to be, the head of account services and client services long before those accounts show up. Because you can't, just have people whisk in the door and be set up for success in order to serve those clients. But there's always this hills and valleys kind of environment. And sometimes sales will feel held back silently. Like, oh, I don't know if my team can handle it yet, right? Do you have a capacity issue inside your organization where you're kind of silently slowing down the sales cycle because you're worried that your team can't handle the volume, right? Or the impact of that? That's resistance. That's friction. Identify where those friction points are and resolve it. Go to your operations folks and say, hey guys, if I sell 3 times as much as I normally do in the next 90 days, can you handle it? Oh, well, of course we can, because we'll do this and this and this. What I found in business is that capacity issues can always get solved. Once you get sales drives the bus, once you fix the friction on the front end and you have a great sales process, you have a great value proposition and awesome marketing messaging, capacity will always rise to fill the needs. Always. We once had a client who came to us and said, I need 20 websites. I'm creating this direct to consumer initiative and I need 20 websites in the next 90 days. Can you do it? And we instantly said, yes, we can. And we did, right? Because we knew capacity always rises to meet sales. Always. We cast a wider net into the vendor pool. We found the right people that we needed to link arms with to link together, and we created those websites for them, hands down, no problem, right? But creating the demand on the other side, that sales process, finding the person, magnetizing the person that wants the 20 websites is the first part of the equation. And so if that person's in front of you and they want to buy what you have to sell, go for it. Say yes. Say yes, say yes, say yes. And reduce the friction on the front end. Make it super easy to work with you, right? And make sure that you're looking for those silent resistance points that you are bringing to the table. Maybe questions you have about capacity, price, value, maybe old garbage you're bringing from your childhood and you just don't think anything should cost over $20,000 or whatever it is, or some number that just seems super high to you. You need to identify those places where you're uncomfortable, because I, hands down, believe you're probably bringing that discomfort somewhere into your process. And it's stopping you from delivering more value and receiving more money in exchange. And so I really, really want to encourage you to slow down, to speed up, and work on this part of your sales process, right? Because this isn't just about naming it and claiming it. This is about getting really in touch with what you're exchanging in the marketplace in relationship to that money that you want to receive, right? And so today, you might have thought that we were going to talk about money mindsets. And yes, in effect, we are talking about money mindsets, but we're flipping the script and we're talking about the value that we're really providing in the marketplace in exchange for that money. More value equals more money. More speed in delivering that value equals more money. More people that we're developing that value for, more impact, more contribution, more money. So we want to start to create new connections in our brain, and then look for those resistance points. Where are there kinks in our garden hose? And then free those up. So you guys, so many good things. I feel like this 45 minutes just whisks by. I hope you guys have an amazingly powerful day. And I hope that you're using the opportunity to get in motion, stay in motion, get ready for the 90-day sprint starting on Monday. Right? Look at the mindset piece, look at the magnetic piece. Where can you get even more in touch with the people right around you? And now today, sit down with that piece of paper and dissect the value that you're bringing to the marketplace and look for those resistance points. You guys, I'm so excited to continue. We're flowing right into momentum, and this wave that you're starting this week, I guarantee you will carry for the next 30 days if you do these things, and the next 60 and the next 90, and will even flow through the summer all the way into next fall. Many of the results that we're seeing right now, the impacts we're seeing right now, are the results of sprints we did. Oh, I did that again. Sprints I did years ago. Right. And so I'm getting my whole team on board the energy train. We kick off our fitness challenge on Monday. We're all going to be rowing in the same direction. And I'm just so excited to be on this journey with you. So have a fantastic day, and